So the scene starts in the Nile Valley, 3600 BCE. The only person we know for sure was there was Morgan Freeman. Bro hasn't missed a thing on Earth. Everyone's bowing down to En Sabah Nur, aka Apocalypse, as he's being carried to the pyramid so his consciousness can be transferred into a new body. This man's been ruling for thousands of years and he's not ready to let it go. Every 100 years he comes back with the same message.
I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving!
So Apocalypse lays down ready to take over his new body. Outside, the priest pulls back the covers as the sun hits and the pyramid powers up. Then the transfer starts. But people were plotting. They were trying to seal him inside the pyramid. They were like, hell nah, he's not ruling for another century. They were trying to kill him mid-transfer. But his horsemen were not about to let that happen. As soon as the doors come down, two of these guys get turned into straight bones. Hector's family. The other horseman starts burning everyone alive. The fire was blazing so high it had him looking like Johnny Storm. The entire pyramid was collapsing fast and this big ass stone almost crushes Apocalypse. But this dude catches it mid-fall, and I swear, the way they were protecting him and didn't want him to die, he had to be the whole plug. This dude here jumped down trying to finish the job, but death catches him mid-air, turns his ass into an omelette, and throws him away. All the horsemen get crushed one by one. Besides Death, she holds it down waiting for the transfer to completely finish, protecting him with everything she had. Then we jump ahead 5,000 years to 1983, Ohio. Class is going over the events of Days of Future Past. Scott Summers' eyes start bugging out, so he dips to the bathroom. And of course a bully follows him, trying to start something, like always. Brody tries forcing the door open only to get beamed right back to the wall. Yeah, Cyclops finally activated his powers. And look at his ass scared as hell on the ground. By this face we know he ain't never gonna be messing with him again. Over in Berlin, there's this underground fighting ring where humans force mutants to fight, which already doesn't make sense. This cage is electrified, but if I had powers, who's really making me do anything? Especially regular humans. That shit right there just won't work. Angel defeats Peter Griffin, and by the looks of it, he's on a 10-game win streak, so the cage is definitely about to go on fire. They bring out Nightcrawler in this tiny metal box, and as soon as he steps out, you can tell he did not sign up for this. He starts teleporting all over the cage, just trying to survive, not fight. But Angel tells him straight up, if we don't fight, they'll kill us both. So Nightcrawler's like, alright bet. He teleports behind him, grabs him by the throat, and slams him into the electric cage, and that shock fries Angel's wings, completely damaging it. And I mean, if you got wings and you can't fly, you just like a bitch with no ass. You ain't got shit. Before things got worse, Mystique pulls up, knocks this dude out clean, and shuts off the electricity off the gate. And just like that, they had the green light to escape. And as soon as the fans realized the mutants were on the loose, everyone dashes out the building. They were like, F this! Mystique grabs Nightcrawler and they teleport outside. Wait, why is this guy here? She hides Nightcrawler and they dip out of there. So in this timeline, mutants gotta stay low-key because they're seen as a threat. And honestly, you can see why. Magneto was wilding on live TV.
We are the future. We are the ones who will inherit this earth.
I'll be scared too. Now Eric's in Poland working in a factory trying to live a normal life. He got a farmhouse, a wife, and a little daughter. Bro's living the dream. He found love and purpose. Meanwhile, Alex finally convinces his little brother Scott to come to the school for the gifted. He needed Professor X to help him learn how to control his powers. My guy takes off his blindfold and the second he opens his eyes, he beams the entire tree down. Like, damn. And listen, I don't even know why the tree is on fire. Like, he ain't Superman. It's not heat vision. Anyways, we cut to Cairo, Egypt, and this lady spots a bunch of men with those En Sabah Nur neck symbols. She sneaks into the crib, goes to the back, knocks this dude out clean. Then she finds a tunnel leading to the fallen pyramid. She takes off her hijab and yep, it's Moira McTaggart. If you know, you know. She goes down the tunnel and sees the pyramid holding Apocalypse. And as soon as she gets closer, she sees a bunch of men praying to the pyramid. Like, ain't no way. Sunlight hits inside, so the pyramid activates and boom, that demon wakes up. Everything starts falling down, so they all try running out, but they all get crushed and instantly die, except Moira. Apocalypse rises and just his presence alone shakes the entire world, literally triggering a global earthquake. It completely shakes the factory that Eric works. Then he had to use his powers to stop a freak accident. And man, this guy right here, Death was literally knocking on his door. Like, just look, he definitely cheated Death because that should have been his final destination. So Eric's co-workers start looking at him weird, scared, like they didn't just see him save a dude's life. Eric just goes back home and tells his wife, yo, we gotta leave, shit ain't safe no more. She agrees, so they start packing, and when they head upstairs to grab his daughter Nina, she isn't in her room. So they go outside and it's the police, and these guys came with no medal, no badges, no guns, just bows and arrows. Nah, that's wild. They flash a newspaper article like, ain't this you? And Magneto doesn't even fight it. That was him in 4K.
This is 4K! How did they get you in 4K?
Bro doesn't even fight it. He just accepts it and goes with them. They let Nina go, but as soon as they start cuffing Eric's hands, actually tying them, Nina starts crying, and yeah, she's a mutant who controls animals, so all the birds start flying right at the police, and they get scared. So this officer does a no-look, no-scope straight through Nina and her mom. Damn. Eric runs trying to save them, but it was too late. It went right through their hearts. Now Eric had nothing else to lose. He grabs his daughter's necklace, looks at the photo of his parents, then just deletes everyone off the server. He caught like 10 bodies in 2 seconds. It was over. Magneto was a demon now. I think that shit was justifiable. I don't care what y'all think. So while Magneto was out here catching bodies, Jean was back at school losing her mind. She's having these crazy nightmares, walls tearing up, and the whole school shaking. Like, damn, how powerful is she? When I used to get nightmares, the bed was just wet. Then I would just stay up and never go back to sleep. Jean out here redecorating the whole school. Charles comes in to check up on her, and when he taps into her mind, he sees the end of the world. Apocalypse, total destruction. And this low-key made Charles scared, but he had to play it off cool and tells her it was just a bad dream and one day that she will learn how to control her powers. But as soon as he left the room, him and Hank went straight to Cerebro trying to find out where that energy source was coming from. He chucks on the headset and sees Moira, and bro is happy as hell. Like, look at him cheesing. That's the same smile you get when your ex calls and you gotta act like she's bothering you, only for you to be like this 2 minutes later. Apocalypse finally wakes up from the pyramid and starts soaking in the world. And just by his face, yeah, he was disgusted. Or maybe he just didn't like shisha. He sees Aurora using her powers to steal some money. She quickly hits the legs, but then they catch her lacking in the alleyway. And this is when Apocalypse pulls up like, leave. And the shop owners are like, bro, who are you? But Apocalypse didn't care about all that. He just wanted to know who ruled the world. But they couldn't understand what he was saying because his language was ancient as hell. More men pull up and Apocalypse just decapitates all their heads. And for the shopkeeper, he morphed this dude into the wall. So after Apocalypse saves Aurora, she takes him back to the trap. And we see a picture of Raven on the wall. After she saved all those people on live TV, hundreds of mutants started seeing her as their hero. My boy here was still way too behind in life. He had to catch up, figure out what happened while he was asleep all those years. So he touches the TV and instantly learns everything about human history, wars, government, religion, everything. And you can see it in his face. Nigga was in disbelief. To him, the weak have taken over the world, and he's especially heated about religion. People out here praying to false gods? In his mind, he is God.
Let's not take the piss here.
I certainly wasn't.
Well, I think you are.
He then walks up to Aurora, touches her, and instantly makes her stronger, unlocking her full potential. This honestly one of my favorite Apocalypse powers. Bro can turn a Rudy into a Jokic. If you're chopped, there's hope. Like Brody was tired of getting a taste of them.
I want the whole load.
And this is probably why the Horsemen were doing everything in their power to keep him alive. But Apocalypse wasn't done. He needed more mutants. He was trying to build his starting lineup. So he pulls up on Caliban, a mutant who can track and detect other mutants. Basically like a living radar. But here's the thing, Caliban a businessman, so you gotta pay up for him to locate mutants. And by the looks of it, Apocalypse ain't have no bread. So Caliban pulls the revolver on him, but that shit just turns into straight dust. Then Psylocke steps in and puts that Personic blade right at his throat. But Apocalypse was like, let me make that a little more powerful. And the second she feels that boost, it was like an IG thought seeing money. She was in. Next up was Angel, and my boy was out here looking rough. Ever since he damaged that wing, he turns into an alcoholic. Drinking tequila straight from the bottle? Nah. He was cooked. Apocalypse pulls up and gives him an upgrade, destroying his feather wings and replacing them with metal. And yeah, that's how Archangel was born. And all he had to say was,
That tastes like promotion!
back at the school, Hank finally finishes Cyclops' glasses. Now Scott doesn't have to walk around like he's Ray Charles. And the second he puts on those shades and he could see again, my boy doesn't waste no time, shooting his shot on the first shorty he's seen. And yes, that shot was straight. Cyclops, I was not familiar with your game. Raven ends up pulling back up to the school with Kurt, and Hank is still clearly in love with Raven, but she wasn't here for all that. She needed to find Eric. She knows he's going through it, and yeah, she wasn't wrong. Eric pulls up to his factory job, shuts all the doors, and locks everyone inside. Then he tells everyone to think about the person they love the most, because they're never gonna see them again. Henry, please, don't do this. My name isn't Henry. My name is
Magneto.
Just as he's about to delete everyone off the server, Apocalypse pulls up and Magneto is thinking, damn, this guy's about to stop him from killing his co-workers. But that man did not give a shit. He was here for him. So he just rolls his eyes back and sinks everyone to the ground and literally had them still twitching. Nah, dying on your shift is diabolical. Like, imagine that was your day off.
I'm not here for them. I'm here for you.
Hey, yo!
They teleport to the place Eric's powers were born and the same place they killed his parents. He then tells Eric he can move the entire world if he actually locked in. He touches the ground and damn, I knew his powers were OP, but he kinda moving like he in the Avatar state. So Charles, Mora and Havoc pull up to the school, and yeah, Charles was always happy to see Raven. She tells him how they killed Eric's wife and daughter and now he's on a killing spree, so they needed to find him before things got worse. Everyone hops into Cerebro and Charles throws on the helmet and starts scanning for Eric. He finally finds him and was like, hello old friend. Looking into Eric's mind is straight pain and anger. There was no shred of light left. But here's the thing, Charles didn't know he wasn't by himself. Apocalypse was in the back trying to figure out who he's talking to. Hey! Hey! Then he taps in and just like that he finds exactly what he was looking for. He takes over Cerebro and hijacks Charles' mind. Now Brody feeling power he's never felt before. Apocalypse connects to every world leader and unleashes every single nuke on the planet at the same time. No more swords. No more weapons, no more systems, no more superpowers. He sent every single one straight to space. Nigga really took away the only power humans had. Alex, destroy everything, destroy Cerebro. So Alex beams the entire room, completely destroying Cerebro. But here's the thing, it was too late. Them niggas already pulled up. Magneto grabs Charles, they jump into the portal and Alex beams them but misses and blows up the entire school. Calm down. Quicksilver shows up holding a, what's that, a Twinkie? So yeah, he dashes in, heads to the explosion and starts taking everyone out. This scene is crazy. Got him doing the moonwalk, saving the poor fish, the pizza and the dog. This scene reminds me of like 2016 when there was the Black Beatles challenge. I don't know if you guys remember it, but everyone had to stay still and the cameraman walk around like ding 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 ding. Black Beatles in the city. If you know, you know. So yeah, everyone gets saved. Then Scott, Jean, Kurt, and Jubilee all make it back from the mall. But this is when we find out Alex didn't make it. Yeah, he was way too close to the explosion. RIP to a real ninja. So obviously Scott starts crying like, that's my blood. Then a chopper pulls up and everyone thinking it's help. But nah, it's William Stryker. He shoots this electro wave, knocking all the mutants out. They take him back to the chopper. Then one of the soldiers starts looking for anyone else. But Raven uses her telepathy powers, making everyone invisible. Everyone dips and Kurt teleports them straight into the chopper. And I don't know, is it me or I feel like Nightcrawler's powers are so OP, but he just doesn't use them properly. Like I remember growing up watching Wolverine and the X-Men and this guy was always sorry. Like bro, you can teleport. That is literally one of the most OP powers ever. Like he really needed to get some training from David Rice because he knew how to live like that.
Kill me.
Actually, I'd take that back. But you guys know what I mean. So they pull up to Stryker's mutant holding facility and he's out here confronting all of them, thinking Charles is the one who unleashed all the nukes, not knowing there was someone else pulling the strings. Stupid. Charles finally wakes up, so Apocalypse uses him to deliver a message to the entire world, basically saying the world's about to end and there's about to be a new world order. But while Apocalypse is talking through Charles fights back just enough to tap into Raven's mind and only she can hear it. He quickly tells her to find him, and just like that, she knew where they were. Hey! Stryker quickly sends a whole team down to go arrest him. But when they get downstairs, Raven opens one of the cages and inside, it was a wild animal. The second the door opens, the alarms go crazy.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
Of course they knew they messed up.
Weapon X is loose. I repeat, Weapon X is loose.
So yeah, they start spraying at Wolverine and my boy shows off his 40-inch vert and jumps up and kills all 3 of them. And after that, he goes on a full killing spree. Like, look at all these bodies he's dropped. Stryker knew he messed up. I mean, he's the one who captured him, so he knew he was cooked. They look at the cameras and Wolverine's already doing hella damage. Mink, mink. You can get one right through the throat and you get out of here. He just continues tearing through everybody. And this guy right here turns around looking at Colonel Stryker for help. Like he got the answers. Trust me, he doesn't. Damn. Get your ass back. These guys continue shooting Wolverine, so he's like, fuck it, I got enough for all of them. Mink, get that gun out of here. Take this. Look at this man, he's in pain. Hell out my way. slap, get him out of here. Then he literally pins this guy to the wall. Yo, this shit was clearly getting out of hand. He even looked at the camera, and just at that moment, Stryker felt like that was a direct threat. So he tells everybody he'll be back. Yeah, he was not gonna be back. My boy got on his chopper and flew right out of there. Like, I don't know how long they had him locked up, but he was mad. Like, check this body slam, one to the gut, cloud to the face. Nah, this guy was on a rampage and he was far from done. Ah, mink, mink, mink. And just like that, there was only one guard left. And we don't even get to see his death, just his blood. And while all this was happening, Raven and the others had no idea what was going on. They were locked up. All they heard was gunshots and screams. Logan tries to leave the facility, but Jean steps in and taps into his mind. She pulls him out of his rage, takes the VR headset off, then gives him back a little piece of his memories. He looks at her for a second and then he just runs out into the snow. And this part's kind of crazy because Cyclops is just witnessing this like, yo, that's the guy that ends up taking your Anyway, Scott breaks the others out. They hop onto a jet and head straight to Charles. We cut over to Apocalypse and he's out here destroying the entire city just to build this weak ass pyramid. Like, dang, you can't be serious. He forges Magneto a new helmet, then tells him to rip every single piece of metal from the Earth and reverse the planet's magnetic poles. Yo, this nigga really wanted to restart Earth. Only the strong will survive. And this right here reminds me of someone. Someone purple. But that wasn't even the full plan. What he really wanted was Charles' powers, because that there will solidify him becoming immortal. Like, remember when those guys betrayed him 5,000 years ago? With telepathy, that wouldn't work. The squad finally pulls up to the pyramid and Quicksilver and Raven head straight to Eric, trying to pull him back to the light. But nah, he was too far gone. And honestly, Peter should have just told him that he was his son. But he kind of got nervous. And don't worry, I kind of get it. Nightcrawler finally makes it inside the pyramid, but Archangel was on his tail. Shit wasn't about to be that easy. And I guess this was their rematch after he messed up his wing. While the transfer was taking place, Charles starts losing his hair and officially turns into Caillou. Outside, Storm and Psylocke were getting busy. And it's kind of crazy, these guys were actually belting Cyclops and Beast. Like, yo, what is this? Y'all gotta pull the hell up. Just as the transfer is about to complete, Kurt straight up puts this fool in the cage, doing him like Tweety Bird. He reaches Charles and teleports him back to the chopper at the last second. Kurt then grabs everyone else. Hank starts the jet ready to gas it, but Psylocke and Angel jump on top. And yeah, that shit comes crashing straight down. But right at the last second, Nightcrawler grabs everyone and bow. Deuces. Psylocke jumps off, but as for Archangel, yeah, his ass was gone. So Apocalypse wakes up all excited, thinking he got a new upgrade, and as soon as he looks to his left, nah, they did his ass dirty. He teleports outside and sees that Archangel is in a body bag and the disgust on his face. This is what he was saying in his head.
This nigga is trash.
Nah, if I upgraded a nigga to his max potential and he still ends up dying, it just has to be in his blood, his booty. Charles finally wakes up thinking he died, thinking it's over, but nah, all he lost was his hair. Apocalypse tries reaching Charles because they're somehow still connected. And just before he can say anything else, Quicksilver zooms in like, mink, mink, mink. Them punches were so fast, he probably didn't even feel some of them. Peter gives him a few more combos, feeling himself a little too much, but then Apocalypse locks in and activates his Byakugan and grabs his foot mid-run. Bro really thought he was actually nice. Apocalypse then grabs his arms, looked down at his legs and was like, you don't need that. Damn, he really snapped that shit into a 90-degree angle. Yeah, RIP them hoop dreams. Nigga got the D-Roy special. He then grabs Quicksilver by the head and tells Psylocke to come end him. She pulls out the katana and slices him right on the neck. But of course that doesn't do anything because he like Wolverine. He grabs her by the neck and starts choking her out, and it's Raven in disguise. Storm's in disbelief because remember, that's her idol. Charles realizes he's still connected to Apocalypse, so he goes inside his mind, grabs him by the head and makes him feel everything. And I guess the pain was way too much for him to handle, so he drops Raven. This is what a real nigga feels. Blow! So Charles starts violating him, throwing straight hands. But one thing about Apocalypse, he adapts. He catches the next punch and was like, oh.
You really thought she was sweet?
He grows and becomes this giant and reveals Charles' location. And look at him out here cheesing. All he wants is those powers. He smacks Charles into the wall, then slams him on the ground. But as soon as he steps forwards towards him, two metal poles just drop down. Eric switches back and starts throwing metal from every direction, but Apocalypse out here playing defense. So Cyclops had to finally join in and start beaming him too. And quickly runs down to grab Raven and Quicksilver. But while all this is happening, Charles was still getting mind bashed, like literally cooked. He needed help. And that's when Jean finally taps in and joins him. Charles tells her to let go and unleash her full power, and that's when she starts walking towards Apocalypse. She just screams and completely takes over his mind, breaking his shield. And as soon as there was an opening, Magneto just clamps him down with metals. Damn, that shit went right through him. Everyone joins in and Apocalypse tries to teleport out of there, only for Storm to join in and hit him with a little bit of thunder. And just like that, Jean finishes him, completely eviscerating him into dust. Charles finally wakes up and gives Moira back all her memories he wiped from her head. They head back, but Earth is in the worst shape I've ever seen. Like, the Avengers have never left it this bad. So Jean and Magneto had to turn into straight builders and start reconstructing everything that was broken. I doubt humans will ever see them the same, but it is what it is. Jean, Storm, Cyclops, Quicksilver, and Nightcrawler become the new X-Men. And that's the end.